terrible enough being murdered like that without having to.
You're a goddamn menace!
Continue to respond, okay?
Goddamn maniac! And at the next junction, you shut the trap.
Remember, we need him healthy enough to answer questions.
1247, Detective Phelps, requesting immediate backup in pursuit of a stolen green Kaiser Frazer from 6 West 2nd Street.
Lay into his wheel arches. Come on. Enough games, Phelps. Take this guy out. Lay into his wheel arches. Come on.
No wonder he killed someone, driving like this. Don't let that asshole get away!
All right, I give up. That's it. Cuff him and we're done.
I'm Super Antonio.
Hey, news from Jack. There's a statewide APB out on.
Jack's okay.
And we're live. Greetings, friends. Welcome back to part 18 of the Super LA Noire commentary, live commentary, and a playthrough. How are you, friends? Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a good weekend. Or hope you had a good weekend. It's almost time to go back to work. And I hope you're ready. I always appreciate Mondays, as I've said before, because it allows you to start making up for all the money that you spent over the weekend. Refilling the coffers. You should see Monday as an opportunity. You should not dread Monday. You should look forward to it. It's a chance to get ahead. It's a chance to conquer. The channel moderator Miko Herptel says, greetings. Hello, Super Antonio, Sadie Mods, and everyone just dropping by before work. Have a good stream, everyone. You have a great day at work, Miko. Appreciate you being here, friend. Talk to you soon. Nicholson Electroplating, it's a DLC. You get your money's worth. It's wonderful. It's at least an hour long. It took us 90 minutes to do it. Yeah, I would say it's a crown jewel of the DLC, and it's certainly a crown jewel of the game. It's a great case. A lot of twists and turns. Starts off with a bang, as it were. Go get him, Cole. You can do it. We get to play as Cole once more. This case exists outside of the outside. You know, it's not exactly canon. This case is what I'm trying to say. Is, you know, it exists somewhere before the ending of LA Noire, which is coming up next week. And then after that, we're moving on to Batman Arkham Knight. I am the knight. I'm Batman. And my parents are dead. What's that about? But we're here with Sadie. Sadie's here. She's happy to see you. She's telling you to like and subscribe. We had a good day. Went to the Cheesecake Factory. Had a Diet Coke. Love Diet Coke. I used to be addicted to Diet Coke. I imagine I still am.
We need to get this area under control.
It was delicious, ice cold fountain drink. I don't consume them at home. I only get them if I go to the Cheesecake Factory. That's the only time I'll actually order one. But yeah, I used to drink them. You know, I used to have my fridge fully stocked and drink it every day. I preferred it in cans, but then I would drink out of a glass with ice, with a, you know, a nice glass. I like the touch of glass with ice and Diet Coke. Interesting though, I do like my green tea, and you know, it's not like I can't stand the touch of aluminum. But at home, I only drink water and coffee and tea, usually green tea. He's got a vest on. We went to, I saw family, my sister and her son, my nephew, and an aunt. I had a double cheeseburger with French fries, a slice of cheesecake, because it is a cheesecake factory. It is the factory of cheesecakes. It was quite delicious. And then I completely forgot. I usually get a vanilla milkshake as well, because why not? How often do I get to the Cheesecake Factory? Yeah, but I didn't. I completely forgot until I saw someone walking by. A server walking by with a couple milkshakes. I said, hey, I wanted one of those, but it was too late.
Wasn't nuclear.
And then talk about shrinkflation. Everything's smaller. You know, it's like the buns are smaller, the meals are smaller. The plates are the same size, those generous Cheesecake Factory plates, but the portions are meager. The bread, I love the bread. They come, you know, the loaves are thinner and smaller, and they come in smaller baskets
An idea of what might have caused the
to
explosion.
create the illusion that you're getting the same.
Have a look around the rubble,
And
see if you come up.
but you're not. And then the cheesecake slice, you know, it's like the cheesecake. A slice of Cheesecake Factory cheesecake used to be like, I would say 3 times the normal size, and this was like a normal sized slice. You know, it was very meager by cheesecake standards. You know, it was like that.
Think it went okay?
When usually they were like that in the old days. So that's okay, you know, you don't need that much cheesecake. I just wanted a taste anyways. You know, the tastes the same. It's very rich and decadent and delicious.
No, Mr. Mayor, you came across as
Hamburger was good too. I only ate half. Brought the other half home for someone else. She was very happy. I always like bringing home treats for her as a reward for waiting for me, I guess, even though she doesn't really have a choice. Let's look for clues. Hi. Spoiler alert. Industrial espionage is involved. And it goes all the way to the top. Oh, I've got a bunch of trivia for you. I completely forgot. I was sidetracked by the Cheesecake Factory. Anyways, let's get into the trivia from the LA Noire Wiki. So, Chief William Worrell can be seen at the Nicholson Electroplating plant. He seems to wonder why coal has not been suspended. Why indeed, because this is a DLC that has nothing to do with the main plot. In the cutscene where Ray asks you to help him with his experiment, Malcolm Carruthers can be seen in the background, walking in the lab and quickly hiding behind a counter. He reveals that Ray has pulled the same trick on him earlier. Be careful during the car chase with Mapes. You can find all the clues and answer every question correctly, but then get less than 5 stars because of general damage. And spoiler alert, we were not careful during the car chase with Mapes. You can free roam with guns in this case. After chasing Mapes back to the Hughes aircraft hangar, a short cutscene ensues. When it's finished, you're free to leave the area and go anywhere in the game with your weapons without the risk of failing the missions. Well, we could have raised a little heck if we wanted to, but we didn't. During the trailer, McKelty shouts at Phelps and Biggs inside the hangar, suggesting that there is an alternate ending. However, no evidence of it can be found in game, so it would seem it was scrapped.
Maybe.
You can find your patrol partner Ralph Dunn, but he will not offer anything as a clue or mention Cole as anything other than detective, implying that he is spiteful that Cole Phelps does not recognize him. The incident in the papers or got a promotion before him. If you pass the suitcase at ground zero, there is a Bible and body parts next to it. An arm can be examined, but there is no clue here. This code was a pain to decipher. Let me tell you. It's one of the reasons why it took so long to do this. And I'm showing you everything. The mayor of LA and the chief of police are both featured in the case and can be seen at the Nicholson electroplating plant. The television crew seen at the plant contains numerous historical inaccuracies and oversights by the Debs. The call letters printed on the van W4XYZ were assigned to an experimental television station in Hollywood that was licensed in 1939 and signed on in 1942. In January 1947, W4XYZ became the first non-experimental station west of the Mississippi and changed its call sign to KTLA, which it still uses today. Yeah, I've heard of KTLA. The camera has a nameplate reading WRC TV Channel 4, which are the call letters and channel position for the NBC affiliate in Washington, D.C. What's that about? WRC wasn't known as WRC until 1954. It signed on as an experimental station, W3XNB, and was active during that period that LA Noire takes place in. This is likely an oversight by the developers, as there is no reason for a small local station from the East Coast to be in Los Angeles. Yeah, what's the reason other than time travel? Like many things in LA Noire, time displacement, that is. The television station's van and camera signage were sourced from real life. Like perhaps that came from the future and it was displaced from the East Coast to the West Coast. That seems reasonable. There seems to be a historical inaccuracy, I love those, with one of Biggs' statements at the beginning of the case. After the explosion of the plant, Biggs asks, "Do you think those rusky sons of bitches have dropped the H-bomb on us?" L.A. Noire takes place during 1947, and though the idea of the hydrogen bomb was suggested in 1941, serious development did not occur until the early 1950s. Yeah, that's a wonderful historical inaccuracy. With the first detonation codename Ivy Mike occurring on November 1st, 1952. However, Ivy Mike was of American origin, not Russian. The first Russian test, codename RDS-6, occurred on August 12, 1953. That was Operation Red Wolf. I just made that up. Red Bear probably would be a better title. It is likely that the developers accidentally confused the H-bomb with the A-bomb. Well, it's a understandable mistake. The first Russian nuclear test did not occur until August 29, 1949, 2 years later. So yeah, you're very eager to get the Cold War involved here, but the Cold War didn't really heat up, as it were, until the 50s. It was an ice war right now. This is the only mission in which an NPC possesses one of the hidden vehicles. The head of security for Hughes Aircraft, Vernon Mapes, has a Tucker torpedo, which you can take after investigating the hangar. Spoiler alert, we did not. Coincidentally, a Tucker torpedo is also parked in the hidden vehicle garage across the street from the explosion site. Wish there were hidden horse stables in another game by Rockstar known as Red Dead Redemption 2. There is not, but that would be a wonderful clickbaity title, guaranteed for views. The hidden horse stable in Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know why. Well, no, I do know why, because I hate clickbait, but it works and I know how to do it. And you know, when I started the channel, I didn't want to do clickbait, and I try not to, but every now and then ideas such as this one just come to the surface, and I start to see views and channel subs, and it gets the mind thinking, mind reels, and but we're not going to do it unless I actually find one, and that'd be awesome if I did, but I don't think there is one. Where are we? As with most destroyed buildings, you can examine the intact building by going back in time and visiting the site via free roam. Note that you cannot access the interior area of Nicholson Electroplating until the front of the building is destroyed. This is the only time in game where you get to visit the interior of the Hughes aircraft hangar and the Spruce Goose, as both are off limits in free roam. See, we're still working on this darn thing. Several Nash Deluxe 600 Army cars are parked on the Hughes aircraft site. This and the military training base in Boyle Heights are the only places where they can be found for the Auto Fanatic Achievement Trophy. Fortunately, the cars are always parked here, even outside of the mission. The woman in the two photos in Vernon Mapes' Hughes aircraft office is real-life Hollywood actress Marie McDonald. And although it's not necessary for clue finding or progressing the mission, it is possible to climb the scaffolding and walk along the top of the Spruce Goose. No screenshot of the Out of the Frying Pan trophy on the PlayStation 4 version will be taken, as it can only be unlocked during a cutscene, and cutscenes are block scenes. Well, actually, this is not true anymore, which prevent gameplay recording, including screenshots. That's absolutely not true. But let's try that again, shall we? This is the only arson case that doesn't feature or mention the Suburban Redevelopment Fund. Yeah, because it has nothing to do with that. The case shares a host of similarities with a case from the M-rated courtroom drama video game Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Dual Destinies. Never heard of it. The case, called Turnabout Countdown, involves a massive explosion which occurs at the district courthouse in Los Angeles in the middle of an ongoing trial. At first, it is speculated to be an isolated act of domestic terrorism perpetrated by a disgruntled high school student, but it is ultimately revealed to be linked to acts of espionage. Yeah, there's a lot of parallels there. And we're still stuck on this codex. At any rate, this is the second to last case. Sadie is also bored with this because she's moved on to underneath the desk. She's relaxing. You guys relax too. Just enjoy it. I will take over and hopefully keep you entertained or occupied. Published a short today in Channel News. It's related to The Last of Us. It's a Last of Us short. It's done okay. It's not doing well, unfortunately. And it's my own darn fault. I put a very obscure reference to a Quentin Tarantino movie once in the title, just because I felt like it. And I want to do that for the people who will get it. But the people who will get it aren't really fans of the channel. Doesn't really cross over. Rockstar, video games, Red Dead Redemption 2, cinema movie aficionados that like Quentin Tarantino, which is a very specific subset. But it goes back to my old precept of making videos that I want to see, that I enjoy. Which was the reason why I started the channel. But it's not the best. It's not the best business model. Unless you're, you know, like the videos you enjoy are very mainstream and popular. And unfortunately, I'm not mainstream and popular in my thoughts and execution and daily life. But, you know, I am what I am, to quote Rene Descartes and Popeye. What can you do? Do you like my outfit tonight? I wore an ascot because it's LA Noire. And my tweed jacket, my tweed Italian jacket's Brioni. Note the blue ascot and a blue pocket square. If I'd thought about it more, I'd have like the same shade of blue, but I didn't. This was like, put it. And then we have French cuffs. So I have gold cufflinks and a gold watch. Look how nice that looks. Makes me happy. Makes me happy. It's Sunday. We're dressed up. Finishing the week out, or starting the next week with a bang, with an impact, making an impression. Really enjoying the new look for me of the streams. I was watching Hannibal, Sounds of the Lambs. It was the sequel, third one from 2002-3, where Julianne Moore plays Clarice Starling rather than Jodie. Directed by Ridley Scott, which I'd completely forgotten about. But anyways, in that movie, Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins, wears a Panama hat, a straw Panama hat. It's kind of like a fedora. I had to look it up. It's called a Montenegro, which is or a Monte Cristo. I'm not sure. It's got a cigar name, but it's a classic Panama hat design, and I kind of want to get one. They look pretty cool, you know, even though I'm not really a hat guy. But, you know, and they're not that expensive. It's less than $100. And they're already imported, so we don't have to worry about tariffs. I'm beginning to suspect that this is one of the reasons why this episode is going to be 90 minutes long. Because we dilly-dallied so long breaking the codes. I understand I could have edited out all of this, but I didn't. It's not that I couldn't be bothered, even though, yes, I couldn't be bothered. But, too, you know, I like showing you everything. It just seems more organic, more real. This is what happened. You know, I'm sharing it with you. The good and the bad.
It's an address. 133 North Vermont Avenue.
I finished the last of this week. So we'll be showing you that starting next Saturday. It's going to become Last of Us Saturdays. And then when this finishes, we'll move on to Batman Arkham Knight. But I was thinking with The Last of Us, because I had so much fun playing it. Once we finish that playthrough, we're just going to start a new one. We're just going to keep playing that game for the foreseeable future and getting better and better at it. I'm liking that idea. So the series will be like playthrough 1, playthrough 2, playthrough 3, whatever. Because,
Hey, detective! I think I got
you know,
something
I'm
here.
starting to strategize with that game.
Any idea
It's
what
like I
this
didn't
is?
maximize weapons properly. I was trying to maximize them equally. And there's not enough resources to completely max out all weapons. So we have to choose wisely.
Looks to
So
me like
I
some
was
kind of
like starting to
machine
think about
component.
what we could do with
An
that.
airplane part, maybe.
That's where the fun starts happening. And then, you know, I actually read some Reddit strategies where they just talked about how it's a stealth game first, a shooty bang game second. So it's designed for you to sneak around and use the bow and get up close and and stab people in the neck. You're not supposed to just run in there all willy-nilly like Arthur and just try to beat everyone to death with a 2x4. Which is pretty much how I did the game first playthrough. I had a lot of Red Dead reflexes. I was confusing the game. Confusing the games, that is, or the controls. I do that a lot. I can only focus really on one game at a time. Which is going to make Batman difficult, but that's okay.
What's left of it?
Both of the games are just for fun, so we can have fun and hang out over the weekends. You can watch a little
what happened here?
Our
watch a little
chief chemist, Harold McClellan,
gameplay, talk
using
about
this area
video
to
games,
test, the new process.
hang out with me for a little bit.
And what exactly is this new process?
Talk about your day, or listen to me talk about mine.
Classified information, son.
A lot of people died here, Mr. Nicholson. I'm prepared to go to the press and tell them it was your fault. What is the new
Gotta question this
process?
Joker.
A way to chemically polish aluminum.
His pocket square exactly matches his tie. I imagine he got them both at the same time. That is a very wide
Who is
tie
Tomoko
clip.
Akamoto?
Dr. McClellan's personal
And they sell
assistant.
sets on Amazon.
She
You
came.
know, they're kind of
Highly recommended.
like, you can get a tie clip. No, you can get a
Akamoto
tie,
was involved in
a
industrial
matching pocket
espionage.
square,
Was she
a
working
tie
for you
clip, and
for a foreign government?
It's a ridiculous assertion.
cufflinks. All
How
at
can you
once, the whole
possibly
thing.
say she was a spy?
They sell you the whole deal for,
How many of your other
$24.99.
employees carry spy cameras in their handbags?
Jesus, Mary,
But
Joseph, she was
as much as I
selling
like that, I don't
wasn't
like getting
a
like
foreign
super
spy, but
matchy
you've been
with the
working
pocket
it.
square
Could be other
and
plating
the
companies,
and the tie.
but the big
I'd like them to
customer for the
complement,
process are the aircraft manufacturers.
but not match perfectly. And also, it like takes the fun and the creativity out if you just buy a
North
kit.
American.
It's,
What
you
can
let
tell us
someone
about
else,
McClellan?
like the original designer or whoever, do the, make your
Approached me a few
choices
months
and
ago with the idea for the new
for you.
process.
So no one has
Whereas
ever
the
done
fun
this
for me,
No, but
where the
yes,
creativity
research.
comes in,
So you thought McClellan
and the
could do what
self-expression,
no one
the
else could
literal
do.
self-expression
You were
is,
guaranteed that
like finding these
Look, he
individual
is a-
pieces, pieces of clothing and putting them all
and his
together in some
ideas
kind of
could
outfit that looks
revolutionize
interesting or
electroplating.
appealing, at least to me.
And you would be rich.
I'm a businessman. What's wrong with turning a buck?
You blew up 6 blocks.
That's where the
God
fun
knows
is.
how many
That's
people
the
are dead.
challenge for me.
I regret that.
That's laudable.
We'll be in touch, Mr. Nicholson. Can you send us Dr. McClellan and Miss Akamoto's personnel files?
I will if I can find them.
By the way,
Also, for
found
most of my life, for most of my professional career, I pretty much wore the same thing every day. Like I got the idea from Steve Jobs. Didn't wear turtlenecks, like black turtlenecks and blue jeans. But, I'd wear nice jeans, Levi's, and then like a gray t-shirt or a black t-shirt, a nice jacket, nice shoes, Doc Martens usually, and a decent watch. And that was my uniform. And Steve Jobs got the idea from Einstein, who had like 5 of the same outfits that he would just rotate, so he didn't have to think about wardrobes and enjoy like mission drift or decision drift.
Or is he still alive?
You wore the same thing every day,
asked the
and
same
you just
question
move
about
on with your
Tomoko
life,
Akamoto.
and you can start,
I guess
and
you
you can
could.
think about
That answer.
more important things.
Not yet.
While I enjoyed having a uniform of sorts, uniform style, and not really putting any effort into thought or creativity, didn't really. Well, my career didn't benefit from it. Let me put it that way, because I regrettably am not a genius. But it was fun to dress like one, and now I'm enjoying dressing like a millionaire, dressing for the the job I want rather than coming, excuse me, LAPD coming through. Dressing for the job I want, not the job I have. What job is that, you ask? Retired millionaire. That's the job I want.
Detective Phelps, badge 1247.
How can I help, Detective?
Job I
Can you
have,
speak to someone
struggling
at the Army Air
YouTuber,
Force Base for me, please?
modest
Of course,
day trader,
Detective.
Tell them I have what
professional
I believe is an
dog
aircraft
walker.
part. It's polished metal,
Well,
light
one
for
dog.
its size. It looks like a cone of some sort. It's stamped on the inside.
And I don't know how
BW
professional
Wasp
I am
Major
at it.
R4360.
It's the high point of her day, and it's nice to be out.
I need an address for
It's nice to be
Superior
out with
Laundry
her. I
Services.
enjoy walking with her.
Closest store to your location is in Wilshire. 4766.
Nice sharing that moment and seeing the world through her eyes. Wonderful parking job, Cole. We reversed out of there fairly seamlessly. Take that left. Look, the streets are clear and clean because this is a DLC. So the algorithm isn't throwing cars at you left and right. Pardon me, coming through, officer. There's a sign for the Los Angeles Speedway. I wonder if that still exists. Probably not. They probably paved over it and put buildings. Papa One is here. Everyone say hi to Papa One. Greetings, Papa One. How are you, friend? If Papa One is here, that means Mama One is not far behind. And there's Mama One. Papa One says, hey, family. And Mama One says, hey, gang. Greetings, Mama One. Sadie is currently under the desk on my foot. She's relaxing. And I'll bring her up in a little bit, but she seems to be very relaxed right now. She's had her din-din, and so I think she's just digesting
We got plenty to get on.
as far as things go.
They can make a
I
claim
watched
to the apartment.
Wednesday. Did I tell you that? It's on Netflix. Do you guys have Netflix? Mama One and Papa One? And I really enjoyed it. I usually don't enjoy, like, teen dramas, you know. I'm kind of, you know, it's in current day things. And it gets a little annoying at times, but it's tolerable because the story is so good and the characters are very well written. And Jenna Ortega is a perfectly charming
Maybe I'd
cutie.
drive better if you shut the hell up.
She's a great Wednesday. And I never thought anyone would replace Christina Ricci for me. Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia, and at first I didn't, you know, I was like, but now, yeah, it kind of works, but I think I prefer the 90s Morticia, the Angelica Houston. And I always loved Raul Julia as as Gomez, because Raul Julia always reminded me of my dad. But it's still, you know, it's like I love how in love Gomez and Morticia are. This Gomez, Luis Guzman, is far more accurate to the original Charles Adams comics or cartoons. Looks a lot more like him, and you know, they kind of made him more Latin, more you know, they explore that now more, which I you know, I guess could be kind of annoying. They used to see Cara Mia, mon cher. Like Gomez would say Cara Mia, and then Morticia would be mon cher. And now I think Gomez still says Cara Mia, but Morticia says something in Spanish to him. She doesn't say mon cher, which is French, my dear. She says like mi carino or something like that, or mi carissima, my dear in Spanish, I would assume.
I couldn't fit in there.
I'd like to think you.
Mom one says, I heard you mention it last night. We have Netflix, Hulu, and others. Yeah, well, I highly recommend it, Mama One. You know, you can see what the millennial teens are up to. It is a teen drama. It's not. I don't think it's meant for. But I don't think we're the target audience. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was thoroughly charmed. I'm gonna watch it again. Sadie liked it too. You know, it's like all the characters are very well written, and it's, you know, it's also a product of the time. I mean, one student has two moms. Snore. The most popular girl in the school is black, because of course she is. But you know, it works. You know, it's like that. You know, all the characters are interesting.
Looks like we have a match.
Well written, and
Interesting thing.
it's kind of like American Hogwarts.
What is it exactly?
Microfilm. A document shrunk to the
But
size
yeah,
of
it's
a thumb.
gloomy and gothic, and you know,
Ron
it's
must have amazing
spooky, and
eyesight.
there's a mystery involved. It's Tim Burton. It's very Tim Burton-y, let's put it that way. Best thing he's done in years, I would say. So yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. And then before the stream, it's like Chris Hansen has been releasing he has a new series. It's not called To Catch a Predator anymore, but it's basically To Catch a Predator. No, it's called Takedown. Takedown with Chris Hansen. And the one I watched today, because it was in the title, this man started crying.
James Lindbergh.
You know, a grown-ass
Very
man
expensive
crying
watch.
for a situation that he created. Exactly. That's a
I
nice
always
watch.
wanted as a kid.
That's funny.
Though I prefer
As a kid, all I wanted
metal
was
bracelets. I don't like leather. But even though that, you know, it's like I'm thinking of getting like a dressier watch for this specific jacket, you know, with a black leather or alligator Papa One band. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, he starts crying. You know, it's like I understand that, you know, it's like when they're confronted, you know, they follow a script, all of them, you know, it's like that, you know, they don't even know they're doing. It's like they have an excuse for being there. They will never admit, they will never just like say, yes, I'm a degenerate. Yes, I came here for, you know, for the exact reason that I said in all the texts that you have. You know, no, it's like I wanted to check up on her. I believed she was 18. I wanted to save her in some way from all the other degenerates out there. I'm personally not a degenerate. I just wanted to make sure that she had proper adult you know, it's like they can never admit it, what they're doing. And this guy just like completely broke down and started crying. Yeah, cry all the way to jail. Yeah, it was bad. But, you know, and he also, this one that they caught had like he was in his 20s and he thought he was talking to a 15-year-old, and he has a kid himself. He has a newborn and a fiance. What's that about? So it's like, not only did he completely
I'd like to think you would
ruin
have
his
something the boys
life,
say about getting shoved in a fridge.
you know, he ruined his family. And, you know, and, well, I'm sure the kid will never hear that story. But, you know, we'll find out at some point. And
Point blank.
it's going to be bad. At any rate, that's what I was doing. It was pretty funny. Cry. But it was fun. You know, it was...
Very
I
expensive
just liked
watch.
it because he had
Maybe about
created
five
this
words.
situation
I always wanted
completely
as a kid.
out of whole cloth from every step of the way, you know, talking on his phone, driving over there, getting out of the car. You know, it's like there were so many, you know, it's like looking for the exit and turning off the exit. You know, it's like there are many moments where he could have just stopped and like looked at a picture of his kid and said, "What am I doing?" and turned around, but he didn't. Papa One says, "I love watching predator poachers. Alex gets the sickest of the sickest predators, and he always gets them arrested." Yeah, it's fun. It's just, I like the moment when they walk in and they see the decoy, and they always like, "Hi, how are you? I gotta go to the bathroom," or whatever, and they like run away real fast. They turn into one corner, and then Chris Hansen comes out, and then you can just see the floor drop out from behind them, and when they, it's like this fantasy, this fog that they were just driving through and living in, just immediately vanishes, and reality just like slaps them in the face. This is where you are. You know, it's like there's the bear trap, which you could have completely avoided, and it's now snapped on your leg. Popolin says, "I also like dads against predators, but they tend to beat up the predators."
Interesting dame, this Akamato.
I can understand why that would be also emotionally satisfying, but
Microfilm.
you know, they'll get enough of that, you know, prison.
Rod must have amazing eyesight.
And I don't think the scenario warrants that, because, you know, there's no actual victim here.
I'll need a couple of
It's
black
just
and
an
whites,
intention.
133
You know,
North
it's like,
Vermont Avenue, Wilshire. We'll need an ambulance in the
and that
car.
kind of bothers me a
Probably
little
a team
bit
from
too.
Technical services as well.
The legality of it, of being arrested for an intention. Like, I can walk into a bank with the thought of robbing the bank and all the accoutrements needed, but if I don't rob the bank, I shouldn't get arrested. Same with like walking into now shoplifting's basically legal, but walking into a store and thinking about stealing something but not stealing. But I understand the levels are different, you know, it's like, and people are involved, and it's like, and children, and the, I was watching Tucker Carlson, and he had someone on that talked about the demonic implications of this, that it's not just the act, it is corruption of the innocent. You know, it's like, well, maybe not the demonic, you know, and they were just talking about, you know, like one thing I love to talk about is the demonic times we live in. But yeah, the corruption of the innocent is a key factor in the in this act.
Damn you!
Especially when it comes to the elite halls of power, not these random guys who have just become twisted throughout, you know, from their lives for whatever reason. Mama one says, "I watched Chris Hansen way back then, and this one guy brought his 4-year-old son while he was planning to spend some time with a 12-year-old. He cried when he got arrested." Yeah, that's crazy. And was saying they are traumatizing his son, but it was all his own fault. Yup. Yeah, he's traumatizing his son. And how could you bring your kid to that? But you know. Pardon me, sir. We need to take your car. Yeah, they're fun to watch, but I don't, you know, and I will go down a rabbit hole, but I don't like to, because they just put me in a weird mood, a weird frame of mind. I don't like seeing the world that way. Let's put it that way. Yes, Papa One. If you stick around, they will fight you. Do the NPCs ever want to fight Cole for their car? Yeah. Yeah, they will. But that's why you have to leave. 'Cause Cole's not great at fighting because he has Red Dead reflexes. Circle and square. And in this game, you have to like L2 circle or square. I can't, but you have to L2 first to lock onto them,
Phelps and Biggs, LAPD. We have
which
one of
I'd
your
always
line
forget
tags.
to do.
Can you tell us who it might belong to?
Are you kidding? I got work to do, Mac. Here's the customer book. Knock yourself out.
Superior Laundry.
Was J2620, Cole.
I wonder about these addresses, if they're real.
Who is Hangstrom?
Like 1266
Maybe someone else in
South
the factory.
Irvine Boulevard
Does
in
he have an
Wilshire.
address?
Is that real? Is that
No.
some dev's address?
Dead end. Thank you
Mom
for all
once
your
says
help,
it's because you're a
sir.
good person, Super Antonio. You want to see the good over the evil. Yeah, I think people are basically good. I honestly do. I mean,
Operator,
I
give me
think you have to
dispatch.
work at. Well, let me put it this way,
Putting you through
because
now.
I understand that there are certain people who are
Detective Phelps,
born
badge
bad, and
1247 messages,
I'm
please.
sure I've come across them in my life, and I understand that it's
We're on our way in.
easier to be bad or to like to transgress. You know, you have to work a little harder to be
What is it?
to be good, to elevate yourself. But I think it's worth it, you know, and it becomes second nature after a while. But it's easy to like.
What?
Fits over the center of the propeller and protects the pitch gearing.
It's easy to litter and not
So it's
put
a
the
military
cart
part.
back in the grocery parking lot,
Get this.
and
The
to
Spruce
think
Goose
of yourself
runs
first.
R4360s. I think you better get over there and check it
But
out.
We're on it.
and I suppose that goes back to the caveman
address
days when
for an
we had
Oscar
to
Hangstrom.
survive. It was a, but we don't have to do that anymore. That's
for
one
your help.
interesting thing about The Last of Us is it's a survival game where you can't trust anyone, much like The Walking Dead. And a lot of times you're fighting humans. You know, much again like The Walking Dead. And I think one of the appeals of this genre, post-apocalyptic zombie genre, is that you get to indulge those caveman survival instincts that we all have, I think, and you know, suppress to some extent in our modern life with all of that civilization. Because it's still there. It's still in the back of our brain. That's why you like hunting so much, Papa One. Because we've been doing it for 50,000 years. We just don't have to do it anymore.
This is a military project, gentlemen. Can you state your business?
Detectives, Phelps and Biggs.
Let's go look at the
LAPD.
Spruce Goose.
We're investigating the explosion. We have reason to believe there may be a link to Hughes aircraft.
Mom
I'm
once
sorry,
says,
I
have
can't
you
help you there,
noticed
detective.
that you get
Without
more views at the
authorization
new
from
stream
military
time? Does the
agents, won't be
algorithm
allowed onto this
tell
facility.
you?
What seems to
Yes,
be the
we are.
problem, gentlemen?
It's a better. We get more views during the
You're not still with the LA.
during the live stream and then also during the
Can you help us out here?
What
afterwards.
seems to be the problem?
Also, it's
Or
slightly
the
more
explosion
convenient
in
for
the
me,
electroplating plant.
so I'm happy to
Part
do
that
it.
belongs to one of your planes.
I work head of
And you're here earlier, as I notice.
I'll take full responsibility. I'm sure we can.
But
clear
LA
this up.
Noire
Follow
has
me.
always been
It's the big hangar. You can't miss it.
not very well attended for this channel, but I
Who
still
is
love the game.
Mapes, and what's his connection to Howard Hughes?
Vernon
But it's
Mace
interesting.
used to work
So
at
this
Vice.
this
Word
one
is he runs fuck
short
pads for Hughes' starlets.
A pimp.
that I did
Earl
that I
and
published
Mapes,
today,
would seem.
Mapes was the
looking it up right now, has a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood reference to it. And it says, the title is Joel Saves Ellie and Goes Full 14 Fists of McCluskey on Abby's Dad and The Last of Us Remastered. So yeah, it's like if you don't understand Quentin Tarantino And The Last of Us 1 and 2, you're not going to understand that title at all. But if you do, you're gonna have fun. And basically it's just about you get a flamethrower in The Last of Us, and so we're flamethrowing people, and it's a lot, and it's not a proportional response. He comes at us with a scalpel, and we flamethrower him. But it was funny. But what I wanted to point out, that flamethrowing an NPC in a short,
the explosion that happened at Nicholson Electroplating?
advertiser friendly.
No more
It's
than
fine.
anyone else.
YouTube had no problem
Heard
with
the
that,
boom while I was shaving.
which
Almost
to
shit
me
my
is
pants.
crazy.
Thought it was Pearl all over again.
Mom once says, I was just curious how it was working and how the algorithm works. I have no idea how the algorithm works. Honestly, Mama One, I don't.
I'm in security.
What that I did, and in the old days, I used to watch all, it's like all these, videos where they're trying to explain, like search engine optimization, and like people are in metadata. I tried all that, and
We don't happen to wear an LAPD tie.
it's never really helped. Mom once says, "Are we going to do Last of Us 2? I'm not sure how I feel about that game. Kind of wish they left it be." Yeah, we are not doing Last of Us 2.
Do you know that
As
Chief
far as
Chemist
I'm
at Nicholson
concerned,
Electroplating,
Last of
Harold
Us 2
McClellan,
does not exist on this channel.
He was pitching some fancy process.
The game ends with Last of Us 1, where they live happily ever after behind a fortified
We
wall.
know that you were sending parts to Nicholson for testing. Question is,
Because the game goes horribly wrong in Chapter 2. I mean, basically Chapter 2. We follow another character that I don't really like. And I guess let's talk about it now. Something to talk about. But,
we believe it belongs to this aircraft.
there's this current trend
Sent them some
of
aluminum parts to test.
making
Howard and the Boffins were interested in this
good
guy McClellan's
guys bad and bad guys good and shades of gray, and you're not allowed to just
Thanks for your help, Mr.
root for a character and sympathize for a character. That's wrong. You have to look at this new character
Take a look inside her.
and see the world from their view. And usually this new character is unattractive, from some sort of group that you're not interested in, and suddenly they're the good guy. When you have, like, again, centuries of storytelling going back to the caveman days, where you like heroes who are attractive, that you want to emulate, that inspire you, that have big muscles or are beautiful, or are athletic or great warriors. But they're trying to change that. At least they were when they wrote The Last of Us 2. And they completely ruined the story, as far as I'm concerned. And that's another little subtle thing I was trying to point out with the short I posted today. Pop One says, also a lot of new games, including The Last of Us 2, has a certain DEI quota. LOL. Yes, they do. Super annoying. And that, we used to be a meritocracy. Now we've gone backwards. Alcott's linseed oil. And we're looking at race and skin tone and who you want to go to the bedroom with. When, for a long time, centuries, that was nobody's business but your own.
Latitude 24 degrees.
Now it's everybody's
15 minutes
business.
north, longitude 76 degrees.
And everything has
0
become
minutes west.
sexualized. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, algorithm. Porn is ubiquitous. It's leaking over into mainstream.
76
Everybody's
degrees
swearing.
west.
Porn and
degrees,
vulgarity
15 minutes north.
in all forms. Papa One says, to me, if you have a certain type of character to please everyone, it ruins storytelling instead of just letting the character develop naturally. Yes, Papa One, that's what I was trying to explain to your lovely wife about Wednesday, is they have those types of characters, but they make sense for the story, and they're not preachy. It's not like, look at me and how good I am and how bad you are. You know, it's like they come up organically. They make sense, and yeah, it's done effectively. I mean, it's still noticeable, but it's not. It doesn't like pull you out of the story. It doesn't distract you, and that's rare.
76 degrees west.
And the whole, it's like the whole central thing is they race swapped the Addams family. It's like they're Latin now. They're Latink. And I know Gomez is named Gomez, but but it works, and it's not like, and it's subtle isn't the word. It's like it's noticeable, but it works, and I'll tolerate it just because I like the characters, and they're charming and they're attractive, even though Luis Guzman is not attractive, but he's very charming. He's very charismatic, and that
already got their maiden
and that there has to be a balance in that for us to for me as an audience member to be entertained or occupied, interested. And they don't, and most modern TV shows and movies don't seem to be interested in that kind of audience. They want an audience of uggos to watch other uggos do heroic things unrealistically. But hopefully that's changing.
Cole, we got things to do.
Cole's thinking right now.
Looks like Mape's office is in the far corner. Let's go see what he's hiding.
I think we have a shootout coming. As I recall. Hughes Aircraft, actual historical figure, Howard Hughes. You may have seen The Aviator, Leonardo DiCaprio. Directed by Martin Scorsese. A director who should retire. I really, as time goes by, I really appreciate Quentin Tarantino's idea of just stopping at the top of your game with, 10 good films and not diluting your work. Because Martin Scorsese is definitely diluting his work as time goes on. Quentin's talked about getting into theater and making theatrical versions of his plays. Like The Hateful Eight would work perfectly as a play. Then also writing more novels, which I think is great. Stepping off that big stage and doing more individual work.
Yeah, I bet he does.
There. That is an actual movie star, apparently. Even though, as much as I know about movies and American cinema, I can't really recognize it right now. got my ice water. Mom once says, if you don't mind me asking, Super Antonio, how does Sadie do in the apartment? Does she hear everything in the city? Our farm dogs would never be quiet in the city. Yeah, she hears everything. She's used to it, so it's not really an issue for her. She likes looking out the window, exploring the city. She's always interested in what walks by her sidewalk. Her territory is very small, especially all the shared areas like the hall and the and the lobby. She understands that's not hers, and she looks to me for navigating. It's like I know, I'm the boss, but once we get in here, once we get an apartment, she understands that that is hers, that she has to defend that, and she's good at it. I mean, here she comes. There's Sadie. She knew we were talking about her. Sadie wants to explain to Mama One how she does in the city. She's very social. She has her friends that we see on our walk. Sometimes the little dogs yell at her, and she's always just, she's very well behaved, but she's always curious. Why are you yelling at me? So yeah, she does well. She didn't when she was younger. I didn't do anything really specific to train her out of it. I think she just cues off me. But Mom once says she must not be a barker. She is not. Reason why I'm asking is our son's neighbors complain in his apartment building because he has a German Shepherd that barked. Yeah, she's not a barker.
We're getting her ready for sea trials, so be quick about it.
She'll only bark if she's like, if she sees something.
We coat the aluminum parts in linseed oil to preserve
But
from
for most times she's remarkably quiet. Why are you quiet? Tell everyone to like and subscribe.
Let's see what Pinker has for us. He's probably done tinkering with that camera by now.
And she'll do a woof. She'll do a little woof. And then,
Always happy to
and sometimes, every now and then, she'll do a little whine if she's feeling frustrated. And then she'll kind of do a yawn bark. Like a yawn whine bark. She'll do that in the morning sometimes. Papa one says, my son now has a house in Miami. Thank goodness, as he refused to get rid of Thaddeus. And before you ask, he came with a name. A GSD in Miami. That sounds like a hot dog. I love German Shepherds, but, as much as this one, I prefer, like, short-haired dogs. Because I can't imagine how much a GSD must shed. How much brushing is involved with those guys.
The word middleman was invented for guys like
Yeah. But, it's a small price to pay, I think, for what they give you. What they give in return. And German Shepherds are so smart. You can practically teach those things to read.
They're fine. They've got their mother and they've got each other.
What about you?
What about me?
What have you got?
A friend of mine is helping me through it.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Pardon me, LAPD coming through. You think Cole drives bad now? Just wait till you see how Batman drives in his tank-like
sir. Police officer, I need your
Batmobile.
car.
It looks a lot like the Tumbler, like Christopher Nolan's Tumbler, and it's around the same time period. But yeah, it's got a
Now that I
cannon
got
on
you,
it. You can
I may
shoot
as well
things out
ask
of the way,
Ask me what?
The Black Dahlia.
and
Who was it that
we're
killed
gonna have a
that
lot of fun
No
in Gotham
official
City,
charges have been pressed in the case.
tearing
I
down
know
the streets
that. I'm
of
not looking for
Gotham,
the official version.
I made a promise to
enforcing
the
our
department.
own
These are the
brand,
guys who
our,
sold you
our
down
own
the river.
brand of justice, dark justice. That's what we'll be doing on Sundays. Looking forward to it. Mom once says he had another one that's a golden retriever German shepherd mix. My son and his girlfriend found him as a stray. He has a habit of getting out of their fence, so we took him. His name is Rick, after The Walking Dead, I'm sure. You know what you should do, Mama One, is just go down the alphabet with your dogs. You know, not like Alpha Bravo Delta, Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot, which would actually be cool. But you know, just start at A with like a cool A name, then a cool B name. You know, it's like instead of like going thematically with like The Walking Dead or World War II or something. That might be interesting as well. Just get formulaic with it.
Please.
Because even though I like the idea of Alpha Bravo Charlie, what if the dog you name Alpha isn't the Alpha? That might be funny, though. But still, what if Zulu turns out to be the Alpha, and Alpha is actually, you know, kind of a middle of the pack, more of a
Take it easy,
a
fellas.
Charlie
I'd rather
Delta.
get that remote
And we
piece.
love Rick and Morty.
Do you ever shut up?
Papa One says, did you decide not to do Sleeping Dogs? I did, Papa One. We're going to do Batman Arkham Knight. Just seemed like a more popular game, algorithm. And everybody likes Batman. So I have high hopes for the Batman playthrough. Did you see the trailer for the new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson? Might be good. They made an OJ joke that made me that gave me hope. I'll see it, but and we'll see how it does. Speaking of Rick and Morty, Mama One says, "Have you considered doing a Red Dead 1 Free Roam Friday?" Interesting. That's an interesting idea. I had not considered that.
Cole.
Free roaming as Jack.
Popularity contests upstairs, you know.
Finished that playthrough. We unlocked like full auto on the Mauser, which is fun. I think it would be more interesting to free roam in Undead Nightmare. We could do an Undead Nightmare free roam
Where do
during
you stand?
Halloween.
I think you're a good cop, but I try and stay out of politics.
Everybody tries to stay out of politics, Ray.
Well, don't quote me on it, but I'm hoping that Parker will get the job and clean this place up. I have your
A lot of
photographs.
wide tie clips in this game. I know it's cut
You
and
can use
paste.
the magnifier.
It's just a matter
There's
of...
quite a lot of detail.
But I like treating this game as if it's real.
Very funny.
As if these characters in clothes and sets and buildings and are actually exist. Mama once says, "'Cause you can do gang hideouts with costumes to infiltrate gangs, and you can never be wanted if you wear the Pinkerton
Can you
suit."
get
Oh,
this
I
over to
didn't know
Lockheed so
that.
we can get a name for this guy?
It's already on its way.
Howard Hughes, millionaire, industrialist, aviator, and playboy, and Vernon Mapes, ex-dirty cop and business fixer.
Yeah, she's definitely a city dog. She understands the city. She's never been in the country. While she would love your farm, I'm sure she would be completely overwhelmed. But I think she would love it. I think she'd love being overwhelmed and getting seriously dirty.
Too bad they blew the place to hell. Is this McClellan? Can anyone make out the street number behind him?
Are you kidding? With my eyesight?
Papa One says Sadie would love the farm, all the rabbits and ducks she can eat. Plus all the dogs love the manure stall. Yeah, it's just letting your instincts run wild. I'm sure she would love that. What dog wouldn't?
One drop from each of the bottles on the
That's
desk.
like an optimal dog
Place
life.
the drops in the petri dish.
And that's how they created the explosion.
It's okay, guys.
Papa One says our farm dog Trigger just randomly goes and lays in the manure stall because he knows it infuriates Mama One and she has to give him a bath. Yeah, he likes the attention on both parts. He likes getting into trouble and he likes the bath that comes afterwards. He knows what he's doing. Dogs are smarter than people give them credit for.
You could add any organic compound to trigger an explosion.
3 little drops.
Yeah. And they were using
This one's ready for bed. Miko's gone. I think Miko went to work, but yeah. But yeah, Miko, she's ready for bed. You'll be happy to know. And what happened to our hat? I love how this game is just populated with, you know, like those file cabinets Cole went by. That random NPC sitting there, he just got into trouble. And they told that kid to stay there, and he will stay there because they respect the rule of law in 1947.
Guy gave his wife a tap.
Miko says, I wish I could go to bed again. Miko, Sadie is ready for bed, as always. And Miko says, hello, Mama One and Papa One. I'm glad you're still here, friend. I thought you were at work. And Mama One says, I love the longer episodes of games. I'm one of the few who prefers long videos. And Mama One says, hey, Miko. Yeah, I actually prefer them as well. They're just, you know, they're hard to do. Papa One says, hope you are well, Miko. Don't work too hard. I can always write you an excuse note. Yeah, Miko. It's Monday. I mean, I'm glad you're at work. I'm glad you're you get to refill your checking account. All the money you spent over the weekend, you had money going out. Now you have money coming in. And that's a good feeling. Look at that round window. I like that porthole. Interesting architectural detail. Never really seen that before. Miko says, yes, just sneaking in a few comments. Yeah, don't worry about it, Miko. Don't get in trouble.
have gas, if I'm not
just
mistaken.
enjoy the stream. We're just kind of hanging out, talking about random stuff. Papa One says, more money to spend on herp tiles. Yes, indeed. Odd place to leave a jerry can. Might be a clue. Interesting how in this house, it's basically a studio apartment, and the bedroom just flows into the living room and the kitchen. They didn't really define things, you know, with walls and stuff. Oh, I like those. That's called like a chair valet or a gentleman's valet.
On TWA.
You're supposed to put your jacket on that, and then like your accessories, your watch and your pocket squares and your passport go on that tray.
Hangstrom and McClellan
This
are the
seems
same
like
man.
a spy.
The gas, Cole, the
What
gas.
happened?
We gotta get out of here right now.
It's the gas. We got to get out of here. It's arson.
Find the stove. Shoot the gas line, Cole. We're out of here.
This isn't good, Cole.
Get out of there.
Had to blast a hole to get through. Figure it out, Cole. There you go. Thank you.
There you are, shitheel. Come on. He's not getting away from us.
Miko says, haha, no more new pets for now, Papa One. Let's move on. Pardon me, LAPD coming through. Papa One asks, how many do you have, Miko? Papa One says that blast would have probably just killed them, but okay. Yeah, you know, it's they have a little thing called the plot armor. Cole won't die until spoiler alert, the story needs him to die. That was awkward. But we're getting there.
Shit. You security men, Cole. Stay on Mapes. Knock them off the road if you have to, but
Stay on
on
Mapes.
that fucker. No! You gotta get me closer!
Yeah, you get your money's worth with this game, and especially this DLC. I imagine, first-time players, you get this DLC that is like an additional 20% to the game. It's wonderful. Papa One says Super Antonio is determined to kill Cole in a car accident. Well, this is how they drive in LA. Even now, Papa One. I'm pretty sure. It's certainly how they drive in Los Santos, which is based on LA. Mom One, Cole is in, he is in arson right now. He has been demoted from Vice. Yeah, we gotta run in there, run right into the cutscene.
We're gonna have to go through all the security men first. I hope you're ready for a fight, Cole.
Yeah, I knew we'd get a shootout.
stay down.
Oh, and Last of Us. I was replaying, you know, to get the scene for the short that I wanted to do. I had to replay that, you know, that specific mission. And I was wondering why these guys weren't going down. You have to fight these guards, and they have body armor on. So all you have to do, I mean, it's like auto lock is engaged because of the first playthrough. So it would engage on center of mass, but then you have to toggle down and like shoot them in the leg. Because if you don't, they'll just keep on taking hits. But, you know, it's good to know for next time. Mom once says, I always wondered why they transferred him from homicide to arson. You would think homicide would be considered the best. I think it is in terms of pure police work, but politically, Vice, because of, you know, its drugs in Hollywood, got more attention from, I guess, the newspapers, and therefore it got a bigger budget in the department. But yeah, the superstars of L.A. Noire were certainly in Vice.
Find some cover.
Not homicide, but homicide makes sense.
Throw down your gun if you like. Who's gonna ice you?
These guards go down effortlessly. Cole finally knows what he's doing by the end of the game. I kind of knew what I was doing by the end of Last of Us, but it just inspired me to want to go back to the beginning and do it right this time, or do it better. And I know the game was designed this way because it's short enough for you to. That's how they want you to play it, which is a completely different strategy than, you know, our game, Red Dead Redemption 2, where you're just supposed to immerse yourself into it and free roam to your heart's content, and you just go hunting and crafting and fishing and, you know, playing in the world. And in Last of Us, it's just like a maze that you have to run through and just do faster and faster times. But each way is challenging and satisfying, and that's interesting to me. Mama One, this was not my first playthrough, and
You're surrounded, and your buddies are dead.
yeah, I'm gonna miss L.A. Noire, but I'm not gonna miss the low viewership. Put it that way. L.A. Noire has never been popular on this channel. Ironic, I know, but numbers don't lie. I wish they would, but they do not.
Shit, really hurts.
Mama One says, I wish they would make a sequel to this. I guarantee, Mama One, if they did make a sequel, it would be online. And they won't. Because they think everyone just wants to play GTA 6 and GTA Online, and they kind of do.
You're gonna have to explain this to me again. So the guy at the chemical plant, he's planning on selling his magic formula to another company and skipping town with his
Okay, we did it.
But he blows himself up before he can manage
We're
it.
one case closer
Why the dead body in the
to
refrigerator?
the end of this game.
Mapes, Captain. He was eliminating all competitors for the process. When it went bang, he burnt down the apartment to remove all connection between Hughes and the plant.
Time for a complimentary cigarette. Smoke them if you got them, boys.
Vernon Mapes. The guy had good honest cops hanging their heads in shame. Glad he's finally out of commission. I don't know if it'll do you any good, Phelps, but between the spruce goose and half the city exploding...
Peter says, I would only play GTA 5 as single player. Greetings, Peter. Happy Sunday. Yeah, I'm not really interested in going online with these games. Shout out to the channel members. That's about all I have for you tonight, friends. Keep the chat going for a little bit. Mama One says, I love detective shows and games, so I'm a little biased. I am also a true crime junkie. I am currently reading some Anne Rule books about the Green River Chancellor and Ted Bundy. Wow. Yeah, you are a true crime junkie. I know that. Shout out to the mods. Mama One and Papa One. Couldn't do without you friends. Miko, of course. Great talking to you, Miko. Peter, glad you checked in. We shall return on Friday with Free Roam Fridays. On Fridays, we free roam. And then we're starting the Last of Us playthrough on Saturday. Thank you for being here, friends. I really enjoyed hosting this live stream for you. And LA Noire. We're doing the final episode next Sunday. In the meantime, enjoy your week. And we'll try to do a Western Wednesday, Papa One. We'll see if that happens. And if not, we'll see you on Friday. Have a great week, friends. And enjoy the rest of your evening. See you soon.
So the wife was there when it happened, but then left the scene.
You're gonna kill someone!
You're right. That's pretty unusual behavior. She could be in shock. I saw some people do some strange things in the war after their buddies got hurt.
Maybe. Maybe she doesn't give a fuck. According to the patrons, her old man was a piece of work.
You don't think...
Phelps, the guy was run over. So it worked out well for this broad. So what? Maybe she deserved to catch a break. Who knows?
Careful! Slow down! That coward thinks he can run from everything.
Enough games, Phelps. Take this guy out. Lay into his wheel arches. Come on.
No wonder he killed someone, driving like this. Don't let that asshole get away!
All right, I give up. That's it. Cuff him and we're done.
Any in the vicinity, see the man at 211 just occurred. 3rd Neal Street. Stand by for further. Unit to handle code 3 identified.
the tank, Phelps. Here's a novel idea. Turn on the siren.
They're calling her the Dahlia now. Wonder what Veronica Lake makes of that one.
What a case. You hear whether they're making any progress?
So Captain Donnelly seems to think they have it all wrapped up. Brown and Green are sweating this Manley character. I heard it'll be in front of a grand jury by next week.
Poor thing. Terrible enough being murdered like that without having to...
You're a goddamn menace!
Continue to respond, Ken.
Goddamn maniac! And at the next junction, you shut the track.
Remember, we need him healthy enough to answer questions.
1247, Detective Phelps, requesting immediate backup in pursuit of a stolen green Kaiser Frazer from 6 West 2nd Street.
Lay into his wheel arches. Come on.
Yourself up! Now!
All right. Maybe I was a couple miles over the speed limit.
Get bracelets on him, Phelps.